Good morning. Welcome everybody to our Kali Puja celebration. We'll be starting the program with some chanting by the Sarod nuns. Will be followed by a talk by Swaminathan, Vishwanathan. Then our very good friend Tanim Hayat will be coming to perform a Sarod recital. I'll tell you more about him when the time comes. Very distinguished player. And then we'll have a talk by Pravrajika, Gayatriprana. Then the nuns will lead us in some chanting and an offering, a candlelight offering to Mother Kali. And then please stay back and get a share of the sweets and savouries that have been offered. So now I'll invite the Sarod nuns to come with some chanting.
We chant from the Chandi, the first book of the Chandi, which is a hymn offered to Mahakali. Om Tvam Swaha Tvam Swadha Tvam Hiva Shatkara Swaratmika Sudha Tvam Akshare Nitye Tridha Matratmika Stitha Ardhamatra Stita Nitya Yanucharya Visheshatah Tvameva Satvam Savitri Tvam Deva Janani Para Tvayaitat Dharyate Vishvam Tvayaitat Sujjate Jagat Tvayaitat Palyate Devi Tvamasyante Cha Sarvada Visrishtau Srishtirupa Tvam Sthitirupa Cha Palane Tatha Samhritirupante Jagatosya Jaganmaye Mahavidya Mahamaya Mahamedha Mahasmriti Mahamoha Cha Bhavati Mahadevi Mahasuri Prakritistvam Cha Sarvasya Gunatraya Vibhavini Kalaratrir Maharatrir Moharatrishcha Daruna Tvam Shri-Swamishwari Tvam Hri-Tvam Buddhir Bodhalakshana Lajja Pushtis Tada Tushtis Tvam Kshanti Kshantirevacha Khadgini Shulini Ghora Gadini Chakrini Tatha Shankini Chapini Bana Bhushandi Parikayuda Saumya Saumyatara Shesha Saumebhyastvati Sundari Para Paranam Parama Tvameva Parameshwari Yacha Kinchidvachiddvastu Jagasadvakilatmike Tasya Sarvasya Ya Shakti Satvam Kim Stuyase Maya Yaya Tvaya Jagat Srashta Jagat Patatiyo Jagat Sopi Nidravasham Nita Kastvam Stotumiheshwarah Vishnu Sharira Grahanam Ahamishanayeva Karitaste yatotastvam kastotum shaktiman bhavet sattvamitvam prabhavai svairudarai devi samstuta mohayetau duradarsha vasurav madhukaichabhav prabodham cha jagat swami niyatamachyuto laghu bodhascha kriyatamasya hantumetau mahasurav.
Now I'll invite Swaminathan Vishwanathan to come and give his talk and PowerPoint presentation.
No worries. That's okay. Actually, that's the first slide. Right? Yep. Yep, that's cool. Good morning, everyone. Happy Mother Kali's Day, though belated. Um, much of my formative years was spent in North India, especially in Uttar Pradesh, and in much of the North and also peninsular India. Overt Kali worship wasn't much prevalent. At least I wasn't exposed to it as much. So I personally had a very poor idea or understanding of what Kali is or represents. Is she the destroyer, but grants boons? Is she terrible but awesome? Or is she worshipped only in esoteric Tantra philosophy? These were some of my questions on Kali. It is only when I got introduced to Sri Ramakrishna's teachings that I began to truly understand Kali's essence as Kali, the mother. This presentation or talk would be essentially divided into 5 parts. One, Sri Ramakrishna and his relationship with Ma Kali and Shardama, Ma Kali and Swami Vivekananda, Ma Kali and Sister Nivedita, and certain other contemporary figures, musicians, and more recent figures, how they impacted, how Ma Kali impacted them. So first, Sri Ramakrishna and Ma Kali and their relationship. Sri Ramakrishna chose to worship and invoke Mother Kali as his personal Ishta, his chosen deity. But one may ask, but why Mother Kali? Why not Lakshmi? Why not Saraswati? Because if one recalls, Sri Ramakrishna was brought up in a family that had worshipped Raghuvir or Sri Ramachandra for generations, actually. But his father also worshipped the goddess Sitala in a consecrated pot in Kamarpukur, as also Shiva. So why Kali? This is addressed beautifully in an essay by Pravrajika Shuddhatma Mataji in Vedanta Society of Southern California. So why Kali? She addresses this very beautifully by sharing this incident. Sri Ramakrishna, living at the Dakshineshwar temple, got initiated in a Shakti mantra by Kenaram Bhattacharya, so that he could worship the divine mother Kali. Swami Sardananda writes of this incident. As soon as the master was initiated, he went into ecstasy, and that Kenaram was amazed by his extraordinary devotion. So we see that Sri Ramakrishna had a deep connection with Mother Kali, even before he started formally worshipping her. Kali herself is not worshipped for anything but liberation. And that is why for Sri Ramakrishna, Ma Kali was his Ishta. If one wants liberation, you must give up everything, even the ego. In fact, liberation is what Ma Kali represents. Commonly, Durga is often worshipped in households for beauty, fame, progeny, and the like. Lakshmi is worshipped for wealth and everything that is auspicious. Saraswati is worshipped especially by children for knowledge. And yes, we can say that they're all aspects of the same divine mother. It is true. But for Sri Ramakrishna, Kali was the mother and he a child. He often said that he was simply an instrument in the hands of the mother, and that it was she who blessed the devotees through him, and it was she who laid out the plan for his life, such as practicing sadhanas or various religious paths. But there are other instances when Sri Ramakrishna directly told devotees that they should meditate on him or give him the power of attorney, that is, surrender to him. Again, he told many of his devotees, he who came as Rama and as Krishna has come now in this body, pointing to himself. All these indicate that he was very much aware of himself as a divine incarnation with a mission. This contradiction can be resolved when we understand that Sri Ramakrishna regarded himself and Mother Kali as one. One day at the Kasipur garden house, when Sri Ramakrishna was dying of throat cancer, he said, placing his hand on his heart, there are two persons in this. One, the Divine Mother. Yes, one is she, and the other is her devotee. It is the devotee who broke his arm, and it is the devotee who is now ill. Do you understand? Again, speaking to him one day, he said, know for certain that I and she, meaning Kali of Dakshineshwar, are one, and there is no difference. If you think of her day and night, that will be thinking of me. But how do we conceive of the symbology of Ma Kali as this fierce-looking goddess, the Kali, and one who treads on her consort? How do we think of her as a mother? Perhaps saints could do it, but what about us mere mortals? Swami Swahananda had a brilliant answer to this. And he says, whenever anyone would voice any doubt about the worship of Mother Kali, he would say, would you rather have a namby-pamby mother, or do you want someone who will fight for you? So, although terrifying and terrible in her symbology, but there is a deeper meanings in what she represents. And so, just the Bhavatani Kali is in the previous slide. Yes. So just the symbology of Mother Kali as represented in Bhavatarani in Dakshineshwar temple, as well as the photo that we have here at this center. Her dark color represents the infinite. Her three eyes represent knowledge of the past, present, and future. Her red tongue sticking out represents Rajas, the quality of activity, while her white teeth pressed on her tongue represents Sattva, the quality of calmness. Both then represent the quality of activity being controlled by calmness. The garland of 50 skulls represents the 50 letters of the Sanskrit alphabet, which also means speech. The sword in her upper left hand cuts our ignorance or bondage, while the severed head in the lower left hand is said to bestow wisdom. As Kali stands on Shiva, who represents the absolute aspect of God, so Kali represents the cosmic power or Shakti that brings creation into being. The right hand is called the Abhaya Mudra, or the one who bestows fearlessness. As we have seen, Kali has 4 arms representing the dualities of the world. So if one goes a little deeper into what the symbology means, a bit more deep, her 2 right arms represents the benign aspect. She bestows fearlessness and boons with those, while her 2 left arms, holding a sword and a severed head, and most of the rest of her represent the terrible aspect. Here we have our function of causation, creation, and destroying, as well as the dual experience in this world. Everything comes from her, and everything dissolves back into her. Again, she is standing on subduing. You might say Shiva, the transcendental absolute aspect of God, the ultimate reality beyond name and form and all dualities. This, we could say, is a function of the finite, which is within space, veiling the infinite. Thus, Kali is herself the Maya that we must recognize and worship in order to realize the infinite. Yet, she is also the infinite. Kali and Shiva are the 2 aspects of the same reality, like fire and its power to burn. As Sri Ramakrishna says, Kali is none other than Brahman. That which is called Brahman is really Kali. She is the primal energy. When that energy remains inactive, I call it Brahman. And when it creates, preserves, or destroys, I call it Shakti or Kali. What you call Brahman, I call Kali. We'll move next to Ma Kali's relationship with Ma Sharada. This is a picture that I got actually from a beautiful pictorial book by Swami Chetananandaji called The Divine Life in Pictures. It was, I think, published a few years ago, and it's a very rare book found usually only in muds. This photo represents on 5th of June 1872, the night of Falaharni Kali Puja. Falaharni means all my falas have to be dissolved in Kali. Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Shodashi of the 10 forms of the Divine Mother in Sharada. Years before, he had begun his sadhana by worshipping Adya Shakti, or the primordial power, in the image of Bhavatarni Kali of Dakshineshwar. Finally, on that new moon night in 1872, he worshipped the same Adya Shakti in the living form of Ma Sharada. Thus, he completed his sadhana by offering to her the results of all his spiritual practices. Thus, there is no difference between Ma Sharada or Ma Kali. Next, I come to Ma Kali and her relationship with Swami Vivekananda. This was a very intriguing and a very curious sort of a relationship, where he was very reticent. Swami Vivekananda was very reticent and very guarded in speaking much about Kali. We would hardly find anything of him writing, no essay, no lecture, but a poem. And here and there in some letters to close confidants, he would write about Kali. We all probably know how Narendra, Swami Vivekananda's pre-monastic name, went 3 times to Dakshineshwar Kali temple to pray to alleviate his family's financial issues. I won't belabor the point here, but each time he entered the temple, he was filled with divine intoxication and completely forgot about what to pray for. Instead, he prayed Ma Kali each time for renunciation, knowledge, and devotion. He just could not help himself, but asked only these: renunciation, knowledge, and devotion. Very reticent to talk about his relationship with Kali, but on one rare occasion, writing a letter, he does provide a glimpse. He writes, Swami Vivekananda writes, I am the servant of the mother, Mother Kali. You are all servants of the mother. What destruction, what fear is there for us? Don't allow egoism to enter your minds, and let love never depart from your hearts. What destruction can touch you? Fear not. Victory to Kali, victory to Kali. Joy Kali, joy Kali. Kali, and in another place he says, Kali worship is not a necessary step in any religion. The Upanishads teach us all there is of religion. Kali worship is my special fad. You never heard me preach it or read of my preaching it in India. I only preach what is good for universal humanity. If there is any curious method which applies, it is entirely to me. I keep it a secret, and there it ends. I must not explain to you what Kali worship is, as I never taught it to anybody. So you see, I cannot believe that there is some. You see, I cannot but believe there is somewhere a great power that thinks of herself as feminine and Kali and called mother. He wrote a very famous poem, Kali the Mother. So I'll just go through a few lines of that poem. For terror is thy name, death is in thy breath, and every shaking step destroys a world forever. Thou time, the all-destroyer, come, O mother, come, who dares misery love and hug the form of death, dance in destruction's dance, to him the mother comes. And then there are some other aspects of Kali that I would like to share with you. If someone in this room has been to the room of Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar, there is a very interesting photo there in his room, which is very curious, and it really struck with me at least. Next. Yes, this one. This is a photo actually in the room of Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. Here, Curiously enough, Kali is represented as Krishna here. Kali is full Shakti worship. Some would say Tantra worship, but here opposite end you have Vaishnava, Krishna worship. But here there is an amalgamation that we see. It's a very interesting story, and this picture is hung in the room of Sri Ramakrishna at Dakshineshwar. The story goes like this. Every night, hearing the flute of Krishna at midnight, Radha would quietly slip out from her home to secretly meet with her lover in the deep forest. However, this was eventually observed by the shrewd sister-in-laws of Radha, who informed Radha's husband Ayan of his wife's quote-unquote adultery. Infuriated, Ayan set off to punish the miscreant and into the deep woods, which is Krishna. However, the Lord of all beings, Sri Krishna, already knew what was in the air. He quickly asked Radha to pick up all the wild fruits and flowers and that she could find and sit down at his feet in a worshipful gesture. Radha obeyed to his commands, and soon Krishna had himself transformed to Kali, the Ishta or chosen deity of Ayan, Radha's husband. And when Ayan finally arrived on the spot, he found his wife doing puja of their family deity, that is Kali. In the last 500 years, Shakti sadhakas of Eastern India personally felt the unity of these two important forms of Hindu pantheon coming together. Many songs and poems were composed in honor of this united form, which was named Krishna Kali. In many such songs, the sadhak poses himself as a little child, requesting his loved mother to drop her ghastly look, which is Kali's look, to assume the more pleasing form of Krishna with kadamba garlands, yellow robes, and enchanting crown of flowers and peacock feathers. This day is also commemorated in Bengal as Falaharini Kalika Puja, which takes place in the Amavasya, the new moon night of Jyeshtha, which comes usually April-May month. This is a time when India is abound with scented flowers and sweetest of fruits like mango. So it is custom to offer all seasonal fruits to Kali at this day. Offering of fruits also symbolizes the surrender of ego and karmic reactions of a man to the Supreme. Now, Ma Kali and Sister Nivedita. For Sister Nivedita, Kali was a symbol of fearlessness, but curiously enough, Kali was also for her a symbol of nationalism and the power behind the Indian freedom struggle. So she had her own sort of interpretation, at least as far as I can interpret. In one of the talks she gave in London, Sister Nivedita, about Kali, an objection was raised on the imagery of Kali. Nivedita replied, "It was so easy to say that God is all love and to think our own private happiness proves that God is love. But when do we learn that? How do we know it? Is it not in moments of anguish in our lives that the great reality is born in upon us all? Is love all beauty, all bliss?" This was a paradox so boldly stated in the Kali image, the mother's image. This paradox of nature and of the universe and of the soul of man, that she who stands there surrounded by all that is terrible to humanity is nevertheless the mother. And we her babies. It is best to share in her own words, Sister Nivedita's words, what she felt of the voice of the mother. Ma Kali, arise, my child, and go forth a man. Bear manfully what is thy lot to bear. That which gives to thy hand to be done, do with full strength and fear not. Forget not that I, the giver of manhood, the giver of womanhood, the holder of victory, am thy mother. Coming to the picture itself, the picture on the right is actually a picture commissioned by Abhinandranath Tagore, who is the brother of Rabindranath Tagore, the Nobel laureate. And during the freedom struggle, Sister Nivedita had him and actually encouraged and motivated him to not only imagine what Mother India or Bharat Mata looks like, but she also made him design Indian flag, believe it or not. This on the right side is actually almost 100 years old, 1906. This was painted by Abhinandranath Tagore during the peak, I think, the Bengal partition. And from there, she gave her own voice, her own meaning to Ma Kali. This picture, there is a commentary often of this picture, which goes like this. From beginning to end, the picture is an appeal in the Indian language to the Indian heart. It is the first great masterpiece in a new style. I would reprint it if I could by tens of thousands and scatter it broadcast over the land. Till there was not a peasant's cottage or a craftsman's hut between Kedarnath and Cape Comorin that had not had this presentment of Bharat Mata somewhere on its walls. Over and over again, as one looks into its qualities, one is struck by the purity and delicacy of the personality put, and that is India. Interestingly, it was the night of Kali Puja on 13th November 1898, literally 126 years ago, at 16 Bospara Lane in North Calcutta, that marked the beginning, the setting up of a girls' school. So Sister Nivedita chose Kali Puja to start her school, girls' school, the first girls' school. Of course, her major works include the Web of Indian Life, the Cradle Tales of Hinduism, but her seminal work is Kali, the Mother. Now, we will also touch upon some of the other popular culture that Ma Kali had impacted as Ma Kali as the mother. The next one. This poet is widely celebrated in Bengal. He is widely celebrated not just in Bengal, but especially and for us very satisfyingly by Sri Ramakrishna. For Sri Ramakrishna, Ram Prasad, and there is another poet, Kamalakanta, these two were his favorites, and he would quote their sonnets, their poems, their songs quite often, and he would go into ecstasy. He had a very comical sort of a life initially. 18th century, early 18th century, he actually started his life as a bookkeeper, and no doubt tried, when he remembered them, to perform his duties, faithfully. But when at the end of a week, his employer called for his books, the accounting books, he found on the first page a sonnet beginning, "Mother, mother, make a thine accountant." And all over, he was writing ma on the accountant book. I shall never prove defaulter and such like. And verses scribbled all over the accounts. Fortunately for Ram Prasad, his genius was recognized at once, and a small pension was settled on him, and he was set free from wage earning for the rest of his life. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa often sang his songs and regarded Ram Prasad as his beloved poet. Many of these songs are recorded in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and it is mentioned that he, Sri Ramakrishna, would spend hours singing the devotional songs of great devotees of the Mother Kali, such as, of course, Ram Prasad and Kamalakant. Those rhapsodic songs describing direct vision of God, Ma Kali. Ram Prasad is credited with creating new compositional form that combine Bengali folk style of ball music with classical melodies and kirtan. The new style took root in Bengali culture with many poet-composers combining folk and raga-based melodies, mixing every common style of music from classical to semi-classical and folk. One of Ram Prasad's hymns to the Ma Kali is as follows. You'll find mother in any house. Do I dare say it in public? She is Bhairavi with Shiva, Durga with her children, Sita with Lakshmana. She is mother, daughter, wife, sister. Every woman close to you. What more can Ram Prasad say? You work the rest out from these hints. And not only Ram Prasad in the early 18th century, we had another poet, Kamalakanta, again a favorite of Sri Ramakrishna, also known as Sadhaka Kamalakanta, Bengali Shakta poet, and inspired greatly by Ma Kali. Throughout his life, was a great devotee of Kali and composed many impassioned and devotional songs and poems to Ma Kali. And there is more recent contemporary impact of Ma Kali as well. Very interesting, very curious one, where if one recognizes the tongue on the left side, there is a big hint there. Any guess? The Rolling Stones, yes. The Rolling Stones, iconic, symbol of its band is actually inspired by Ma Kali. There's a very curious story behind it. In 1969, as the Rolling Stones were cementing their place as rock legends, Mick Jagger, the frontman, the main lead singer, began searching for a visual identity that could represent the band's rebellious attitude. It was around this time that Mick Jagger's brother, who had earlier visited India, introduced Mick Jagger, to Indian culture through literature. One image that particularly caught Jagger's eye was the disembodied tongue of the Hindu goddess Kali. This depiction of Kali, with her fierce expression and outstretched tongue, struck a chord with Jagger, who saw in it a symbol of defiance, anti-authoritarianism, just like Sister Nivedita, and power. Qualities that resonated deeply with the Rolling Stones ethos. So Kali, there are other pictures as well. Interestingly, Mick Jagger actually came last year during Kali Puja in 23 in November to Kolkata. And there is one more photo, I think. Yes, this is him. These photos are taken from his Instagram, Mick Jagger's. So he's also Mother Kali's devotee. So as you can see, Kali, the mother, is the glue binding Ma Sharda, Sri Ramakrishna, Sister Nivedita, Swami Vivekananda, all lay devotees, musicians, contemporary rock artists, all of them together. She is the glue. The mother, stronger than the thunderbolt, but softer than a flower. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Swami, for that wonderful talk. And you give such good talks. Requiring you to give more in future. We'll be inviting you to give more. Now, our good friend, Tanim Hayat Khan Rajit, is with us again. He's a wonderful musician. And I love the way every year when I contact him in the lead up to our Kali Puja celebration to invite him to perform, he gets back to me quick as a flash, because I know he loves coming here to perform. And he told me, we love him, we love his performance, he loves us as an audience. Because he said we listen, and we really listen to his performance, and that's a sign of respect and honor to the musician. So he gets such a good feeling from us. So it's a nice bond we have with Tanim. Tanim's from a family that overflowing with musical talent. He grew up listening to the songs of his mother in Bangladesh, a popular singer of the 60s. And he has a trio of famous singing aunts, his grandfather, his grandfather's brother, his cousin, all are famed musicians and Sarod players. Rajit's performed on TV in Bangladesh, and he very proudly represented Bangladesh when we had the Commonwealth Games at the Gold Coast. He performed there. So now just bear with us. We'll need a little bit of time now for Tanim to get set up, and we'll clear the stage for him.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you, everyone, again. 7 years onwards. 2017, I started coming here playing. Thanks to Madhuri. Because of her, I'm here for the last 7 years. She introduced me. And of course, Robert, keep inviting me. Thank you very much. And yes, love this ambience, quiet and calm. Whatever I play, 10 audience, 15 audience, but with the proper environment, that's more than, I don't want 100, 200, 300. but yes, that's the perfect thing. You can see that I forgot my password. So that tells me aging. 7 years ago, I was doing myself. Now I did my daughter to get that. So that's also a sign of wisdom, maybe. Today I'm going to play Rag Jaunpuri. This is a morning raga. The good thing is that I chose this raga. Finally, I could play something that is right on time. So the best time of this to play this raga is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So this is the perfect timing. So what happens usually that because of that, what we always have it during this time. So it's very difficult to choose a particular raga which goes by the hour of the time. So what we learned that it is a curse that if we don't play the raga on the time, actual time, whatever the time is. So if it's evening, so there are slots, evening 6 to 8, 6 to 9, then 9 to 12, 12 to 1. So all these segments, they have got specific ragas. Actually, it is very much strict to play even the practice sessions should be on those time based on those ragas. So I can't, or we, modern days, we cannot be that strict. Like I can't wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning and practice the 4 o'clock raga. That doesn't happen. But at least I can try, at least when I'm performing, try to choose a raga, which is the time, which matches the timing in here, 9 to 12. So the downside of this, that I will probably not being able to play any evening ragas anymore at all when I come here. It has to be always in morning ragas. Has to be, no option, unfortunately. But that's how it is. So we will go with that one. So about the devotion, Mahakali devotion, it is part of our family in terms of two family members of our family. My grandfathers there are 5 brothers. The second brother, Fakir Aftabuddin Khan, he was devoted to Mahakali, he and his wife. So my grandfather and my grandmother as well. And I have heard a lot of stories about that from my father. And the other person who is my own uncle, my father's immediate elder brother, he was also devoted to Kali, Mahakali. And they are from West Bengal. So I went when I was visiting their house. I saw those signs of devotions and everything. I didn't find him much. He passed away very young age, 1989. He passed away. So I started going 97. And I found those legacies that I've heard from my father and my and the other family members. And I saw those things when I visited home. It feels different. And so yes, Mahakali is part of in our family all the time and will be remaining forever. Thank you. I'm trying to play. Thank you.
Music will keep you young, Tanim. You're not going to keep your mind active too. I don't believe you're going to age.
Thank you very much, Swaminathan, for the beautiful talk on Mother Kali. And Tanim, I think Mother Kali really loves your offering of the Sarod's recital. That's why she is bringing every year, year after year. And we hope to hear this for many more years to come. Toyedat dharide visham, toyedat srijjade jagat, toyedat palide devi tomatsande cha sarvada. By you, this universe is sustained. By you, this world is created. By you, it's protected, O Devi, and you always consume it at the end. I was told by Gayatriprana that I should finish by 20 minutes. It's already 12 o'clock. I'll see. I said I may talk for an hour. I'll see what I'm going to do. The program given is Diwali Kali Puja celebration. So, and we talked about Kali Puja. So I just mentioned a little bit about Diwali. Diwali or Deepavali is celebrated all over India in different forms. It's the most popular of the Hindu festivals, celebrated by Hindus all over the world, and now even the different governments are celebrating all over the world. It's a festival of light, Deepavali, row of lights, festival of lights, and it celebrates the victory of good over evil, light over darkness. And it happens on the dark fortnight. So complete dark everywhere. Nature is dark. So we put the lamps. We saw all over the India people lighting lamps. And we are lighted lamps, though it is bright daylight, but we can't do it. We are celebrating on Sunday forenoon, so it is always like this. And it said that Sri Rama, after defeating Ravana, came back, and the people, the whole city, Ayodhya, lighted the lamps and celebrated his victory. And another one is Sri Krishna killed the demon Naraka, who had kept 16,000 princes as captive. So That's another time to celebrate. He killed him. Krishna killed the Naraka and freed the princesses. And some other parts, it is worship of Lakshmi, goddess of prosperity. And in Bengal, it's worship of Kali. So the same celebration in different parts of India, done in different ways, but it's a time of celebration and remembering the greatness of God in all different ways. The main deities, the main brands of Hinduism, Shaiva, Vaishnava, Shakta are the main three strands. And we had to remember Shiva, Vishnu, and Shakti, or Divine Mother. They are not, they are principles, not persons, personalities like incarnations. No. We have given them a name and form. Like if you may think of Vishnu, we will be imagining a blue-colored person lying on the ocean on a bed of snake. We have given it. We have given the form to say that he is eternal, Ananda. He's lying on Ananda, eternity. He's there eternally in the yoga or in yoga. He's there. Whenever there is a need, Vishnu gets up and destroys the evildoers to sustain. His role is sustainer. Shiva, we imagine as seated in meditation in the Himalayan peaks. There are principles. They are not like Krishna, Rama. We know they are born as human beings. They have taken a human form. But these three, Shiva, Vishnu, and Shakti, they are principles. We have given them form. What they are really, we don't know. Nobody knows. People that met the sages in their meditation, they have had some visions, and those they have given depicted in the revelations, and we absorb that pictures, that ideas. But what they really are, nobody knows. So Sri Ramakrishna used to sing one of the, we heard from Swaminathan about two famous poet saints of Bengal, Ram Prasad and Kamalakanda. One of the poems that Sri Ramakrishna used to love was, who is there that can understand what Mother Kali is? Even the 6 systems of philosophies are unable to describe her. The 6 systems of philosophy of Hinduism, they are unable to describe her. And the other poet, Kamalakanda, he says in one of the poems, is my mother Shyama black? Sometimes she is white in color, sometimes yellow, sometimes blue. Sometimes she is Purusha, male, sometimes Prakriti, female. Sometimes the great void, beyond time, space, and causation. When we do the worship of Mother Kali, we put the sacred thread on her. Usually the sacred thread, long ago, in the Vedic time, sacred thread was given for both boys and girls. But as time went, the sacred thread was given only to the boys, not the girls. But Mother Kali is given sacred thread. So there's a story that one of the devotee who attended the worship was asking the worshipper, why have you put a sacred thread on Mother Kali? She's feminine. Then the worshipper said, oh, my brother, you have understood what she is. I don't know whether she is a male or a female. She is beyond both. She's a principle. But because we say Shakti is always feminine gender in Sanskrit. So we portray her as female. But what she really is, nobody knows. And why is she so black? Sri Ramakrishna explains that. She says, Krishna and Kali look dark blue, because they are so far away, like the sky or the water in the ocean. You take the water in the hand, you go to the ocean, take the water in the hand, there's no color. But you look at the ocean, it's blue because it's so far away. Mother Kali and Krishna looks dark blue because they are so far away. Go near them, then you will get to know what they really are. Sir John Woodruff, an authority on Tantra, that's the philosophy of Shakti, in his book, The Garland of Letters, writes, she is dark, for she is herself beyond mind and speech, reduces all things into that worldly nothingness, which, as the void of all which we know now, is at the same time the all, nothingness, and then the all, Purna, which is light and peace. And of all the Hindu gods and goddesses, Kali, Mother Kali's form is the most enigmatic and least understood. If you look at her, we'll see she is naked, disheveled hair, a girdle of human hands around her waist. She has got a garland of skulls, a freshly severed head in one hand, and the blood dripping sword in the other. And do you call this form a goddess? Our idea of gods and goddesses are well-dressed, well-decked, sweet, gentle. And this is just the opposite of all that. Kali is a far cry from the gentle gods and goddesses that we know of. So many critics, both Indian and Western, call her as goddess of destruction. Kali is seeing the outer form. They call her, she is the goddess of destruction. But what she really is, if we look closely, deeply into her form, we can get some idea. But as we said earlier, who can understand? Even the six systems of philosophy cannot explain what she is. Then how can we understand? But we'll try. For the ordinary people, she is what the external form shows. Terrible. She is nature or Maya, bringing everything into existence, sustaining, protecting, and then in the end, devouring, absorbing everything back into herself. So Richard Schiffman, in his book, A Prophet of the New Age, writes, she is the material cosmos as is known to science. A superficially purposeless chaos of opposing qualities, creation and destruction, cause and effect, light and darkness, good and evil. She appears here as a randomly willful despot, elusive and distantly aloof. This is her public mask. This is the mask she is showing everybody. And we just take it on face value. We think that's Mother Kali is a bloodthirsty goddess. A universe which is completely good without any evil is a myth. This never happens. Never. It's never a reality. Good and bad, creation, destruction, they always go together. They are the two sides of the same coin. If we accept one, we have to accept the other. We cannot have only good. In life, everybody has got their share of happiness and misery. Nobody has all happiness. Nobody has all misery. Everybody has their share of happiness and misery, goes together. We may not like death and destruction, but it is absolutely necessary for birth and growth, life. Only by destruction, new things come up. Old things are destroyed, new things come up. Old plants die down, new plants come up. Old buildings we demolish and new buildings come up. There is a interesting incident or writing in one of the Chinese Taoist sages. A gentleman living in a rich landowner, living in his family mansion, was one day, he's getting old, he's saying, oh, love is so beautiful. When I die, I have to leave this and go away. I'm so sad. And then his servants also said, we all love this place. It's so sad to leave. Then the sage, they said, imagine your parents, your grandparents, their great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, all were alive and all were living in your mansion. Then there'll be no place for you. You'll be living in a hut out on the field. So it's time. When it is time, you have to leave the place and give space for the next generation. So death is part of life, and death is necessary for the new growth to come. But we don't want to face the reality. We don't want to face that death is part of life. Death has to come. No, not that we go and commit suicide. But because we had love, as Swami Vivekananda said, he who hugs death. No, only brave people can hug death. Death means death of our selfishness, egoism, all that. That is, physical death is nothing. Physical death, it naturally happens. And it is only by facing and overcoming troubles, miseries, challenges that we grow spiritually. If we want to grow on the spiritual path, we must be brave enough to face challenges, difficulties, problems. If you run away from them, they will run after you. If you try to avoid them, they will be there. Today or tomorrow, you just postpone it, that's all. And then when you postpone, it becomes bigger and bigger, and you'll be faced with it, the problems, when physically you may not be able to cope with it. So rather better face it as it comes. And only by facing them, we have to learn the pairs of opposites and go beyond them, go beyond the state of the pairs of opposites. That's why we are asked to see the presence of Kali in death and destruction. As Swaminathan quoted Swamiji Vivekananda saying in the poem, Kali the mother, who dares misery love and hug the form of death, dance in destruction's dance. To him, the mother comes. Those brave souls who are brave enough to see the face of Kali in death and destruction, they will be blessed with mother's blessings. And as I said earlier, Kali is not a person, but a principle. So to think of Kali as, without understanding the symbolism, and think Kali is destruction, is just like describing the Christian ritual of Eucharist as flesh and blood of Christ. No, it's not. For Christians, what is it? It's a symbolic of victory of spirit over death and spiritual participation in the divinity of God. So we have to understand the rituals are, to remember, rituals are symbols. They represent some deeper ideals, meanings. So we have to understand what it really means. The ordinary person does not bother to find out. They just take the face value. And so the sages call us, those who don't go to understand the deep meaning, the sages call us children. The Upanishad sages call their children, balaha. Or another term they use, mutha, fools. What can you expect from them? They're children. They don't understand. So they are very considerate, undeveloped intelligence. But there are people who worship this terrible form of Kali because that's all they can think about. Their mental development their mental evolution, spiritual evolution is only that level. So they feel comfortable with that type of worship. And they are the tamasic devotees. They worship also of that type nature. They offer mother they worship her with wine, meat, sacrifice, animal sacrifice, sometimes even human sacrifice. There is an incident in the life of Shankaracharya where the Kapaliga wanted to sacrifice, a human sacrifice, a perfect spiritually elevated person, and sacrificing him, the Kapaliga will get sacrificing Shankara to Mother Kali. Kapalika thought he will go to heaven in body. All these worship of these forms, terrible forms, they're all with some to meet some worldly desire. So his desire was to go to heaven in his physical body, which is, where is heaven? It's a mental state. But anyway, Shankaracharya was protected, but that happens. Even I don't know whether it is still happening, but used to happen even human sacrifices. Animal sacrifice still continues, happens. But even such worship, though we may find it very revolting or abhorring, it has got its place. Some people can only take that much. Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Yayathamam prapasyante tam tadhiva bhajamyaham. Whosoever worship me through whatsoever path, I verily accept and bless them in that way. Somebody is worshipping in that way, well, the Lord accepts that and blesses them accordingly. Explaining this verse, Swami Tapasyananda writes, the more an individual or community is evolved, the more noble and comprehensive will be their conception of the deity. The more evolved people have, more evolved conception. But the less evolved man too is adoring the same deity, grasping such aspects of his as his undeveloped mind would allow. Only that much he can understand. God is happy with that. Sri Ramakrishna says, the little baby children, they are not able to say properly, Baba means father or Papa. They say only Ba or Pa. Does the father get angry with that? The father knows that the child cannot pronounce properly, only that much saying. But he knows the child is calling him. The God knows, Divine Mother knows that we are worshipping her. Maybe with sacrifice, doesn't matter. We are calling on that's enough. It has got its own way, place. But even such worship gradually leads to the real love of God. That's why they give importance to, as Sri Krishna says, whatever be the path, because all will lead to real love of God. And with love comes love, the fear goes away. There's no more fear. At present, seeing the terrible form of Kali, people are afraid. But when love comes, there's no more fear. Devotee sees Mother Kali in a different way. What is a severed head? The head of the ego, the greatest obstacle on spiritual path. And the sword is the knowledge aimed at the demons. What are the demons? Lust, anger, greed, all these are demons trying to attack us. Her sword is aimed at them. And then she is the right two hands offering boons. Whatever you want, she will grant. If you want worldly prosperity, she will grant that. If you want spiritual wisdom, she will grant that. And then other right hand is showing, don't be afraid. Abhay mudra. Fearlessness, offering fearlessness. And for such devotee, she is not fearful goddess, she is the loving mother. The loving mother loves the child. That does not mean that the mother won't reprimand the child if the child does something wrong. Of course, the mother will reprimand. And that That is her affection. That's because she loves the child. She reprimands and corrects the child. She won't go and correct the neighbor's child. It's not her problem. She corrects her child because she loves the child. The mother may show anger. The real mother shows anger to control, to correct, to make understand our mistakes. One of the Christian mystics, Julian of Norwich, says, the kind and loving natural mother knows and understands her infant well. And out of natural instinct, she protects and provides for her infant. We all know that. As the infant grows and develops, she acts differently. You don't treat a 5-year-old child as you treated a 5-month-old baby. The treatment is different. She acts differently, but her love does not change. The love is still there. She rebukes the child to deter misbehavior and to encourage virtue and grace. Everything which the natural mother does is lovely and good. And the way our Lord treats us, his children, is the same. And for this reason, we call our Lord Mother. He is a mystic from England, on 15th century mystic. And there are different forms of Kali, not just this terrible form or different aspects. Appearance may be the same, but there are different aspects. In the Tantra philosophy, they speaks of different aspects of Kali. There is Mahakali. The description is when there were neither the creation nor the sun, moon, planets, or earth, when darkness was enveloped in darkness. There's no creation. There's nothing. When darkness was enveloped in darkness, then the mother, the formless one, the Mahakali, was one with Mahakala, the absolute. The formless, not this form, that mother of Kali that we see. The formless was one with the absolute. That is Mahakali, one aspect. Then there is Shyama Kali, the tender aspect, and worshipped in homes. She is the giver of boons and remover of fear. Then Raksha Kali, protecting in, she is a protectress. She is worshipped in times of epidemic, famine, earthquake, drought, flood. Then there is Smashana Kali, the one who roams around in the cremation ground. She is the embodiment of the power of destruction. Resides in cremation ground, surrounded by corpses and spirits. From her mouth flows a stream of blood. From her neck hangs a garland of human heads, and around her waist is a girdle of human hands. That's the picture that we see here. And this, they say, please don't worship at homes. It's very dangerous. Any mistake in the worship, that's terrible, evil calamities can happen. Why do you go to worship the terrible form? There's benign forms are there. Then there is Nitya Kali. At the end of cycle, after the destruction of the universe, the Divine Mother gathers together the seed for the next creation. She collects. After creation, the primal power dwells in the universe, brings forth the world, and then pervades it. It's like the spider bringing out the web and roaming in the web spider web. And there is yet another aspect to Kali that, as we learned from the lives of some of the great devotees, Ram Prasad, Kamala Kanda, and in modern time, Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna says, Kali is none other than Brahman. That which is called Brahman is really Kali. She is the primal energy. When that energy remains inactive, I call it Brahman. And when it creates, preserves, and destroys, I call it Shakti or Kali. They are like fire and its power to burn. If one thinks of fire, one must think of its power to burn. If one recognizes Kali, one must also recognize Brahman. And if one recognizes Brahman, one must recognize Kali. It's like wave and the ocean. The wave cannot remain without the ocean. Cut off from the ocean, there's no existence. And what is wave? The power of the ocean. Projecting we say, oh, mighty waves. Can hear in the weather report. Mighty waves will be there. Soil erosion, all that. But where is the power for the wave? The power of the ocean. Cut off from the ocean, there's no existence. It is just like that. Kali is the power of Brahman. And Sri Ramakrishna used to use two other terms for Kali and Brahman, the absolute and the relative. When you think about the relative means change. And if change involves some changeless entity, changeless stationary principle should be there behind. Like the picture on the screen. The screen is there all the time, different pictures come. The pictures are seen because of the changeless screen. The change remains or involves a changeless entity. To experience change, we experience change because of the changeless entity behind. The relative cannot be thought of without the absolute. So they are together. They go together. They cannot be separated. They are inseparable. So we cannot imagine the relative without absolute, Shakti, Kali without Brahman, or Brahman without Kali. They go together. And again, as I said earlier, Brahman is to show that Kali is standing on Brahman, on Shiva. Shiva is lying down, motionless. Kali is there on standing creation. It's in scientific terms, you can say, terms of science, it's potential energy and kinetic energy. Potential energy, there is no action. But Kali is kinetic energy, all action happens. And what does science say? Science says energy can neither be created nor destroyed, can only change forms. So Kali and Brahman are always there, they can never be destroyed. But to think about these abstract things, we cannot have a close relation with something so abstract entity. So we want a form, we are given a form and given a name, and then the benign aspect, we can look upon her as mother. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says looking upon God as mother is the highest or the greatest form of spiritual practice. These great poet saints, they put pressure on her, on the Divine Mother, because they're close. And to quote few words of Ram Prasad, says, whom else should I cry to mother? A baby cries for its mother alone. And then he says, and I am not the son of such that I should call any woman my mother. And in another song, he says, it is not so easy as that to be a mother. He's quarreling with Divine Mother Kali. It's not so easy as that to be a mother. One does not become a mother by just giving birth to a child. To be a mother, one has to understand the anguish of the child's heart. Only then you can call yourself a mother. If you don't understand the child's anguish, then just because you are given birth to a child, don't become a mother. To be a mother, one has to understand the anguish of the child's heart. And Sri Ramakrishna showed what sort of anguish you need to get the mother's blessing. Those who have read the life of Sri Ramakrishna knows how much he prayed. And in the end, He was so desperate. After all his prayer, I haven't had another day has gone. And I haven't had the vision of you. So what's the point of living? And he was about to kill himself when he had the vision of mother. So Sri Ramakrishna says, can you weep? People shed jug full of tears for husband, wife, children, money. Who cares? Who weeps for mother? Can you really weep? If you really can, you can weep for mother, then she will come. He says, as long as the child is playing with the toys, mother is busy with her household duties. Sometimes the toy breaks or the child had a fight with another playmate and then cries. The mother comes and gives another toy, pacifies. What are these toys? We have got family, got our wealth, property, job, name, fame. All these are the toys that she has given us to play. And we are busy playing with them. And so she is busy. All right, you go and play. But when we get blows, the toys break. When we are fed up with play, then we cry. Then she said, and she tries to give another toy. But if we are not going to take that toy and throw away all the toys and wants only mother, then she will come. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, then even if the something is cooking on the stove, she'll take it down and then come running and take the child on the lap. Divine Mother is like that. We only have to pray to her earnestly, sincerely. She will come to us. Thank you.
So a few announcements. Please note, we won't be having the yoga class for the next few weeks. Next Friday night, we'll have the Vedanta Book Club Friday night edition. And discussion will be led by Gayatriprana from 7:30 p.m. Next Sunday, Sri Gayatriprana will be giving her final talk in the Self-Knowledge Atmaboda series. And on it goes. So, and now we will be led in some chanting by the nuns. We'll be having a candlelight offering ceremony to Mother Kali. We'll seek some help here with getting all your candles lit. Everyone's going to have their own candle to offer. So we'll be concluding with that now. And then, of course, please stay back for a share of the sweets and savories.
Everybody got? Kali, Kali, Mahakali, Bhadrakali, Namostute, Kulam cha, Kuladharmam cha, Mam cha, Palaya, Palaya. Kali, Kali, Mother Kali, Gentle Kali, our salutations to you. We pray that you protect our family, traditional values, and myself.